Welcome, Chris. Thanks for your time.
Happy to be here.
Great stuff. So should we kick off with just give us a little bit of background on yourself and tell us when you sort of first discovered architecture?
Yeah, so I come at it from a completely different perspective, right? I was a history major at university in the late 1990s, and I needed a job. My parents had cut me off. I needed a job, and I went to the job board, which in those days, of course, was an actual board, right, with things put. It wasn't a bulletin board system. It was like there was paper on the wall, and there was a job that said play video games, earn $8 an hour. And I said, well, there you go, right? That's basically what I do now. Now I can get paid for it. So uh, fantastic, right? And I went and this was a company that did what you would now call outsourcing for customer service support, beta testing, right? Part of the development lifecycle for companies that didn't have their in-house development center. And yeah, I knew about computers. I mean, you kind of grow up, you take Pascal, whatever, that sort of, a little bit about it. You have to hack things to get enough memory to run your video game, right? That sort of stuff. Shout out to EMM 386 for anyone that remembers that. But so here I am, I'm in this company, and as you get into it, it's like, I need a way to store bug reports and defect information, and everything was on paper. And I started putting everything into MS Access, right, which they had on these Dell computers. And now, when someone called up, you could do a quick search, and oh, here's the solution for such and such a problem that you're having with this particular game. And of course, then it was like, well, maybe I can slap a web front end on this, right? And so there was this thing at the time called the HTX file, which was like a Microsoft Access template that used Microsoft HTML, which of course was different than regular HTML.
I'm shuddering quite a lot.
I know, it's horrifying, isn't
Carry
it?
on.
So then we were able to do it through a web interface, and then it evolved over time into what you would now call a content management system. That's effectively what we had created from the ground up, and that was my introduction to really to like enterprise style technology and the architecture that underpins it. And this is where my view of architecture is a little bit different than a lot of people, right? I view, especially specifically enterprise architecture, but also solution architecture to some degree, more as the strategic understanding of a need, right? And the thought process and the design to fill that need. Part one.
Okay.
Part two, communicating the effectiveness of that solution to someone with money who will pay for it to be implemented, right? And so those are the two parts of it. And for me, with a liberal arts degree in history, I don't have an MBA, I don't have a computer science degree, right? I have a liberal arts degree. And so over time, I think that's actually helped me. And I think that makes a good architect, really. That ability to think big thoughts, translate them on paper into something real and tangible, and then, right, figure out a way to tell that story to someone who will fund it. Because without that part of it, the rest of it's just a nice thought project, right?
Yeah, no, you're right. I completely agree with you. It's storytelling, isn't it? And that's super important because there's lots of people I've worked with, through my architecture career who are fantastic technically, who come up with these amazing solution architectures or even enterprise architectures, but because they are very technical people who know their stuff. They're lovely people. They know what they're doing, but they just can't break out of that world in order to sell that message and get the buy-in. So it's interesting, isn't it? The enterprise architect kind of role is that balance of different attributes, isn't it?
Yeah, I always liken it to, the genius with the ponytail in a dark closet somewhere, right? Pounding out like this elegant, perfect solution for something, and then can't effectively speak to any other human being. Right. And they live their life through World of Warcraft or whatever it is. Right. And like that's their mode of interactivity. Right. I think you have to have that, and it's not just the ability to have a conversation with somebody and explain something. I need to be able to write it down. I need actually some decent English skills or whatever language you're working in. Right. I need the ability to write something compelling. I need to understand that the design may be this big, but if I can't put it and summarize it in 3 bullets on a slide, then there's only a certain level to which that story is going to go, right? The CEO is not going to look at like a 40-page deck of detailed architectural drawings. He's what does it mean? Tell me what it means. And I think you need to be able to do that. So for me, I've been successful in doing that. I wrote a book about this, by the way. I should plug that while we're here. It's called The People Problem. It's been out a couple of years. It's on Amazon, and it is effectively this, right? Which is, how do I go about being an architect, and what are some of the primary skills that I need to go do that? And it's my take on that. So everyone should definitely check that out.
No, I think a lot of folks just think you need to solve the technical piece, but you absolutely need to solve the people piece as well, right? And so, what I'm asking everyone on this series that I talk to is, given that the community is called Architect Tomorrow, we're obviously in very uncertain times at the moment. It's obviously it's pretty tricky for many folks, but what do you see as the kind of near and medium term future of architecture, both in terms of what architectures do you think are going to be successful in the near to medium term, but also what qualities do you think the architect is going to need to kind of hone over the medium term?
Yeah, there's an interesting bit here, right? And I think right now, I think technical qualifications, I think, are table stakes, right? Do you have to be TOGAF certified and this certified and that? No, but do you need an understanding of it to be effective? Yes, right. You need to know what it's about. So I don't think it's like let me take more certifications, right? And that's the future. No, I think that's table stakes. Where we're at now, though, is you need this other piece of being able to discern what is really necessary at the current time for a company to be doing. For if you're advising in a consulting format, what should your client be doing? If you're within a company, what should we be doing as a company? Because here's the thing, right? Now is not the time probably to go do a 6-month current state capability model, right? You could argue whether there's any time to do that, but I think now is the time where you look at it, it's like, oh my gosh, we had these 10 things we were going to do in 2020. There's no money. I can't hire anybody. Everything's frozen. What are the top 2 things that or what's the number 1 thing that we can get done? And then some real practical approaches and, negotiations with people within your company to reprioritize some stuff to get something done. Otherwise you're just keeping the lights on, and the question would be, do you need an enterprise architect to do that? I think if you want to demonstrate what architecture needs to be or the value of it in times like this, it's that ability to discern and prioritize and triage.
And I would say, in order to do that prioritization, you need to have a good understanding of your sector that you're operating in and what the pressures are, what are the kind of big levers, right? That your company is going to need to face into, and a little bit of kind of perhaps nonlinear thinking. I think a lot of folks work in the here and now, but sometimes you just need to think a couple of steps ahead, right? And think, like, where is all this headed? If these trends continue, what initiatives, what capability should we be focusing on building?
Yeah, absolutely. And the reality of it, of course, is there's also a healthy dose of politics involved in it, right? So you're not ever going to escape that. And I think recognizing that, if especially when you get into enterprise architecture and enterprise strategies and things of that nature, you are by nature dealing with multiple parts of a business that think and act and prioritize differently. And often you're the go-between between a lot of people that never talk to each other, right? It's really fascinating. If you do like a social network analysis of a company, you often find that the people that have all the lines between them, there's like these enterprise architect type roles at the center of
it's bizarre, isn't it? I did have that realization myself in a role a few jobs ago, where I was like, hang on, I'm the techie one here. Yeah, I'm the one that's connecting everyone together. And that's what I think it started dawning on me, the thing you were saying earlier, which is it's not all about the technology. It's also about kind of bringing the right people together and that people side of the equation as well. No, definitely.
The reality is just like sales and marketing, they don't like, the development organization, and they don't sit at lunch together. They don't talk, they don't hang out after work. Right. And so you need to be that glue, to get some stuff done.
No, I like that. And maybe that's a good place to close, right? As the architect, as the glue to get stuff done. So.
And one more plug, Oliver, if you permit me, right? People should definitely check out Consultants Saying Things, consultantsayingthings.com, or just Google the Consultants Saying Things. So it's a video podcast, it's a roundtable not
Yep.
unlike this, but with more people.
Hmm.
And we talk about, various things impacting consulting and different ways to do it, et cetera. And I find it intriguing, and hopefully.
I should have mentioned that at the beginning, of course, because you guys were genuinely one of the influencers that made us think about how we were going to do Architect Tomorrow as a community. We saw how you guys were running things, and so we have pinched a few ideas from you guys. So they say, what is it, that copying is the greatest form of flattery or something
There
like
you
that,
go.
or
Yeah.
plagiarism. I don't know. Depends on
I'll take it.
take that, will you? Yeah. So look, thanks again, Chris, for your time. It's been great. It's been great talking to you. It's been also been brilliant having you join the community and get involved in one of our workshops recently and things. It's been great. So by all means, if you if you like this, we can check out some of the stuff we did on that. We published some diagrams that came out of that workshop. So and hopefully we'll do some more things together, right, Chris?
Absolutely. Good stuff.
Stuff.
Here's Oliver. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.